Good afternoon. This is FYI Sahara YouTube, and I am Sahara. And we have to as background is the Pacific Ocean. I hope you can hear it. You can hear it from my balcony, and it can be quite soothing. But let me see. Maybe I can open the window. Hold on. There we go. So I want to look at some comparison charts for how to find money in your chart, because some people are born with it and some people get it as they grow older. And that's kind of, there are many things in astrology that can be kind of, you feel like Nancy Drew sometimes. How do you find things? Um, so I'm going to do Michael Bloomberg, Jim Carrey, uh, I think Elvis. Let's see what I've got in my potpourri of interesting things. Okay, here's Michael Bloomberg, who has become to the national attention lately. And the things I want to look for in the comparison charts are the ruler of the second house. In this case, is the sun, and the ruler of the eighth house. In this case, it is Aquarius. I hope you can see the dividing line for the eighth house. You're going to find that the ruler of these two houses are, they don't get along very well. We have the sun in Aquarius. And this is a very Aquarius guy, born at a new moon. This is a good place to be born with your sun approaching, the moon approaching the sun means you're a go-getter. However, Uranus is square to his sun. This means that these two parts of his life don't work very well. He has made it and lost it. I'll tell you, I don't know his history very much, except he's Aquarian. I think we can look forward to Aquarian striving towards higher ground mentally. But the thing that you were going to see in some of the charts is when the ruler of the second house is aspected to the ruler of the eighth house, the money house. Other people's money is the eighth house. You find that they have to be in agreement. They're not here. This is great upset, but also striving very hard. The funny thing about this chart is it's not a happy chart. There's no fulfillment here. It's a strange kind of fulfillment. If you have a difficult chart, it's really, don't give up with it. Work with it. Work with it harder and harder and harder. It's not everything's going to be handed to you, but that's why you have a difficult chart to achieve things in all areas of life. Um, Cancer rising. I have to be careful not to get into chart analysis, but Cancer cares about their country, their home, and their country, especially with a lot of planets on the horizon, above the horizon. This is under the Earth when you're born, and this is over the Earth when you're born. The sun's up here, so as opposed to down here where you're going to be working on things that are closer, family and things like that. But the ruler of the second house, where do we find it? Here is the sun. It is in the eighth house of other people's money. And but since it's in Aquarius, we have more of a group feeling, like we're all in this together. This guy has a mystical side. I don't know if he probably doesn't talk about it very much, but the thing is, just the transits right now are very heavy transits in Capricorn, which is why we're having so much upheaval globally. The structures of society is changing, but Bloomberg has these planets heavy duty Capricorn. It's right on his descendant. This means Saturn on your descendant means you get a bad rep. Something's going to break that's going to give him a mar, and he's going to feel unloved, unwanted by the world. It's kind of like somebody raining on your parade. Believe me, everybody gets this aspect somewhere in their chart on the seventh house. This is a divorce. Poor fellow. Or he loses his wife. I don't know his personal circumstances. So we have a personal setback. Why am I even trying? Boo hoo, woe is me. Trust me, I have a lot of stuff in Capricorn. That's the way you feel. But when you have, just overall, when he's born, you have the sun and the moon in the eighth house, and the sun is the ruler of the second house, the money house. This brings money to you. So he's made it. It's my understanding that he started off. Um, he didn't start off rich. He probably didn't. It was probably wasn't exactly handed to him, but he has probably had more ups and downs than we realize. I think if we were going to put a theme song to Michael Bloomberg's chart, it would be the Rockies theme of trying to make it all work out. Now let's see who I have next here. Michael Jackson. What an interesting chart. And now why was he a little complex? But let's look at some of the reasons why he would have been started off poor, and we all know how it ended up for him. Very complicated, of course. Virgo. Interesting about Virgos, they are related to the elemental kingdom, meaning fairies and angels and things like that. They have that kind of feeling about them. Like for instance, Shirley MacLaine, I should drop her chart, a very famous Virgo, and she's got that kind of airy fairy. You wouldn't be surprised if she was outside smelling a flower or flying around with a wand. It's kind of magical and leaf-like. Now, Michael's chart, the ruler of his second house and his eighth house are particularly harmonious. Now, what you do have is this is like the no-brainer of astrology. Jupiter, the great beneficent, is in his eighth house. It's like, that's it. You don't have to look any further. You're going to be well off with this. Now, what are you going to do with it? That's the cool thing. Let's look at somebody. Let's see else who's next. Oh, by the way, if you have an aspect like this, Jupiter in the eighth house, and you're like, I'm just kind of a normal person, watch for when there's going to be something exciting in your eighth house or your second house by transit, mostly by progression. I don't know if you hear the train. I have the ocean in the train. Very pretty, melodious, I think. You can have, he had, probably when he was 24, he hit the big time money-wise. So these things will show up. He has good aspects. He has the good, the bad, and the ugly here. But it is interesting to see when you have a progression. All these, as a solar progression, as he moved up, these planets moved up by progression, they hit his eighth house. That's that. Cha-ching. Jim Carrey is a moody Capricorn. You wouldn't expect that. We have America's favorite funny man, kind of a trickster, and he has in his chart, he is the magician or the trickster. You really expect him to pull something out of a hat. However, he is a Capricorn, and Capricorns, Cappies, are serious people, like Elvis Presley. I hope we have time to go on to Elvis's chart. Serious guys. You wouldn't expect that. Elvis is all over the stage with his guitar in Las Vegas. Jim Carrey is now, right now, as we speak, he's kind of moved into moody artist type mode. In New York, his art is fantastic. Listen, I'm going to give you a tip. Buy one of his paintings now, because one day you're going to own an original Jim Carrey. That's something you want to give to your kids, or a wonderful donation to charity. So here we have his best movie was Man in the Moon, and I went into that a little bit in the longer chart I did. I hope I'll try to put a link to Jim Carrey's more extended look at his chart, because it's so interesting. So here you have, really malleable is the word for this, in the third house of communications. So, but let's not get into. It's so easy to dive into one of these charts. They're really a whole world. You have the ruler of the second house is Sagittarius. Okay, the ruler of the eighth house, other people's money, is Gemini, is Mercury. So here you have, now let's look at the relationship between Jupiter and Mercury. Well, they're conjunct in the third house. He's going to make his money through communication. I think he had basically a middle class upbringing, and well, I don't want to go into more details of the chart, but this is if you look at a person's chart or your own chart, whenever the second house ruler of the eighth house, if they move into relation to each other, it's means money, and that's something that is, as Jim Carrey said, he found out he was quite the philosopher. Now he's an artist. His art is magnificent. And is our other moody Capricorn. He has a birth date the same as Yogananda, the great guru. And it's very funny. Elvis did come out, he wanted to be a disciple of Yogananda, but Las Vegas pulled him away. He had a very spiritual side. I did that in a longer portrait of his chart. However, in looking at the second house, ruled by Capricorn, now here's the fun part. He has the sun right in his second house. Surprise! But you have the ruler of the second house is Capricorn. And where do we find Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn? Right here in the third house. Sorry. And here we will look at the ruler of the eighth house, the moon. They're conjunct. They're conjunct in the third house. They get along here. They're hanging out together. So that was one of the main things that made Elvis so phenomenally wealthy for his time. He was amazing. But you'd have to look at the chart I did for him. Okay, how about this guy? The leader of the free world. Now, when we look at this little formula that I've come up with, we have the ruler of the second house is a Virgo, ruled by Mercury, and the ruler of its eighth house is Neptune. For a very, very elusive planet is Neptune. And hold on one second. So you have the ruler of the second house in the ruler of the eighth house in the second house, and so you're like, oh, this looks good when you have a ruler of the second, when they kind of trade off. You go, this is good. However, the ruler of the second house, Mercury, is squared Neptune. Anytime you have Mercury-Neptune combinations with money aspects, what do you think that brings? Think about it. Neptune is illusion, delusion, and confusion. And when it's paired up with Mercury, the way you communicate, classic liar, um, classic liar aspects. So you just that's just going to be that's just it's kind of classic. You can't automatically brand somebody with a liar aspect unless it has something else to liar with money. Because it may be in fifth house, could be a liar in love, or in some other area, it could manifest. It's not, you can't do a blanket type thing, but this is kind of classic liar, sadly. But Neptune, illusion, confusion, and delusion, squared Mercury, the ruler of the second house, is I'm gonna lie to you. So that's about all we can say about this guy. And I when I look at this chart, I don't think he ever really had a lot of money. But that's another analysis, a longer analysis. Let's see if I can find Oprah Winfrey. And I'm getting curious about Shirley MacLaine as well. You might notice I've not been bringing too many charts analysis, which I've been doing all my life. This is watch out if you take up astrology because it's addictive. Dumbledore, in Harry Potter, Dumbledore said to the Tri-Wizard Champions, "Be careful when you enter the maze, because you might find the prize, but you might lose yourself along the way." This is a good advice for when you go to the Tri-Wizard Championship, which is astrology. It never ends, the endless story. But Oprah Winfrey, what an exciting lady. One thing, I did his chart maybe like 2 years ago. Um, she has the galactic center, Sagittarius, on her rising side. That's her ascendant. When you have anything with the later degrees of Sagittarius, you're going to impact the world. The galactic center, well, it's like, I swear to God, I think that's where God is. This magnetic force that is so exciting. I talked a lot about that when I did a YouTube on the yugas, and it shows overall where we're going with our, like, the next couple thousand years. You've got to look at the big picture because it's happening right now, and it's very exciting. Moving our whole solar system is headed towards the galactic center, which is like the age of Aquarius. It's like we're finally going to get a spiritual clue, and it's happening right now. Yay. Now let's look at Miss Winfrey, who is the phenomena of our age. Talk about the age of Aquarius. She is an Aquarian, and the ruler of her second house is Capricorn. Okay, hold on one second. I made a mistake. This particular type of chart is a little harder to read. It's Aquarius. Okay, so here you have the Aquarian planets, and we have our early degrees of Aquarius. Now let's look at the eighth house of the people's money. We have Leo. The ruler of Leo is the Sun. And where do we find the ruler of the eighth house? Aha! Sitting here in the second house. Cha-ching! So she was kind of slated to do well. She could have done well with anything. However, she's going to influence the world in a positive way with Sagittarius in the galactic center. Very powerful. Shirley MacLaine has this. Wayne Dyer has this. These are people that are going to influence everybody in a very enlightened way of thinking about things, and they're going to shine the light on us all. I'm going to call it quits for right now. I'm looking forward to bringing some other people like Wayne Dyer and Shirley MacLaine to the. If you have any people you'd like to look at where fame and fortune has really not only influenced the native, but been a positive force in the world, because all the people, except for Trump, has, that always remains to be seen. One thing interesting about his chart, and I went over this in some of the longer versions I did, is one of his children could turn out to be a light bearer, someone that shines a light on something in a positive way, much like Oprah did, and Wayne Dyer and Shirley MacLaine, people like that. And one of his kids might rise up above this debacle of the presidency and um, show us. I guess insight would be kind of a good outcome for one of these people. Um, can they finally do some good? Is some good kind of come out of all this? You know what I wanted to do? My next after I do the the light bearers. I might call it the light bearers. I want to do president's pets. It is so. Here's Michael Bloomberg. He is. He likes animals, but you know he doesn't have one right now. The one thing I wanted to look at is we have a president now, and I guess he's not gonna, whether he's gonna be around or not. He's kind of a trickster. I swear he's a Teflon president. Every time you think he's astrologist, look at his chart and you go, oh, he's gonna really get it now. He slips out of it. But I just think the noose is tightening. But Cory Booker, I wanted to look at. President Trump does not have a dog. Melania and President Trump do not like animals. You will never find any of his kids with little pets and dogs. And maybe look at some of our current politicians, our current people out in the forefront of change. We have Cory Booker. This is where a news reporter found him rescuing a dog in New Jersey. Okay, what does that tell you about his character? And you're really single people. If you're looking for romance, if they don't have a pet, keep on moving. It's just like one of the. There's not many truisms in our world, so I love this picture. Let me see if I can draw it up. This is the world famous socks. Uh, That's kind of cute. Actually, this is kind of a Photoshop deal, but Socks was famous, and he was just an adorable cat. So, but look at me. I'm off going into my upcoming YouTubes, and I haven't been doing that many YouTubes. I because of my voice, I don't get many subscribers, so I've gone on to making some cat videos. If anything brings joy to our hearts, it's our little furry friends. So, but I can't help but be drawn back to astrology from time to time. My voice is been affected. I don't know why astrologically, but there it is. So, it's just making it hard to get people to subscribe. If, nothing I can do about it. I wonder if I can combine the two. I'm not sure. Let's wait and see. I am a Capricorn, and Capricorns come up with the conservative people. They can come up with some surprises. So I'll say adieu, bid you adieu, like and subscribe if you have room on your favored page to to like my channel, because I have some more charts. But I also want to film some of our little furry friends and do famous pets. So I bid you adieu. Thanks for stopping by.